Right. So we'll start our discussion regarding alkyl and aryl halides by solving some problems, and also simultaneously we will discuss about alcohols, phenols, ethers also. Right. So this totally 45 questions we will solve on these particular chapters. Now see the first question. Among the following strongest nucleophile in vapor phases. Right. So nucleophilicity and basicity. These two are simultaneous. That means when you want to compare nucleophilicity, you need to check out basicity also. If you take weak acids will produce very strong conjugate base. They will produce strong conjugate bases. If you take acids like HF, HCl, HBr, HI, among them HI is a strong acid. This is a strong acid due to bond dissociation energy. Reason for this is bond dissociation energy. So due to less bond dissociation energy, so due to low bond dissociation energy, HA becomes strong acid. So HF is weak acid. So its conjugate base is F minus. For HCl it is Cl minus. For HBr it is Br minus. For HI it is I minus. So weak acid's conjugate base is strong. So F minus is a very strong base. So F minus is very strong base. Therefore, in presence of non-polar solvents, are in gaseous phase, their nucleophilicity order follow basicity order. So this is basicity order and similarly nucleophilicity order. If we have taken polar aprotic solvents, or better I will go for polar protic solvents. In case of polar protic solvents, then due to strong hydrogen bonding, this F minus ion cannot mobilize easily. Therefore, its nucleophilicity will be less compared to Cl minus less than Br minus less than I minus. Reason, solvation. Due to solvation, that means in presence of polar protic solvents, solvent molecules surround these ions. As solvent molecules surround these ions cannot go and attack over the nucleophilic site properly, right? That means electrophilic site properly. So therefore, their nucleophilicity is less. Now, coming to the question, among the following strongest nucleophile is, so here F minus is the strong nucleophile because they are asking about vapor phase, right? So here F minus is stronger than, Cl minus stronger than, Br minus stronger than I minus. Instead of a vapor phase, if they have mentioned polar solvents, then the total order becomes reversed. Then you will get the answer as I minus. Next, coming to next question. Salicylic acid. This is salicylic acid. So there must be a OH group and carboxylic acid group. We call this as salicylic acid. This on treatment with phenol, this was allowed to react with phenol in acidic medium. So nothing but it is like acid base reaction, or just we can say there will be elimination of water, right? So if it is elimination of water, the obtained product will be C double bond O, O, phenyl group, and you have a OH, right? Phenyl salicylate. Phenyl salicylate is also called as Salol, right? This is also called as Salol. Oil of wintergreen means methyl salicylate. This is called oil of wintergreen. Methyl salicylate is called oil of wintergreen. Next, acetyl salicylate or acetyl salicylic acid. This is called aspirin. Acetyl salicylate is called as aspirin. Just to note that if it is allowed to react with neutral ferric chloride, no coloration. You don't find any coloration. Whereas if it is a methyl salicylate with neutral ferric chloride, it will give color. Reason is presence of this phenol. This presence of this phenolic OH group. Here it is phenolic OH is absent. Whereas Salol also gives color with neutral ferric chloride. This also gives color with neutral ferric chloride. Right? Salol as well as oil of wintergreen. These two gives color with neutral ferric chloride due to presence of this phenolic OH group. Due to presence of this phenolic OH. If you take aspirin do not give color with neutral ferric chloride because absence of this OH group. Aspirin is acetyl salicylate. Observe this. OH group is reacted with acetic acid. OH group. On salicylic acid, the OH group which is present, that is reacted with the acetic acid to form acetyl salicylate, that is aspirin. Right? If the acid group is allowed to react with methanol, if this is allowed to react with methanol or that is allowed to react with phenol, then you will get these compounds. Right? Salol as well as methyl salicylate. Right? So they possess this OH group and hence they will give color with neutral ferric chloride. Now, mesitile oxide. This is mesitile oxide. This is mesitile oxide. This is the product obtained during aldol condensation. During aldol condensation, you will get this mesitile oxide. Acetone undergone aldol condensation in terms of a base, right, on heating, followed by heating, gives aldol condensation. So there you will get mesitile oxide as the product, right? So mesitile oxide, oil of wintergreen, aspirin, Salol. You need to observe the structures. This is mesitile oxide, this is aspirin, this is oil of wintergreen, this is Salol. So salicylic acid with phenol gives Salol. That is the product. Do you have any doubt in this? In these two questions? Is it clear? Someone please respond. Now come to the next question. Which alcohol does not give color with Victor-Mayer test? Remember, in Victor-Mayer test, primary and secondary alcohols gives color, whereas tertiary alcohols do not give the color. So by looking at the compound itself, we can say structure is option 4. But before going to this, let me discuss about what is Victor-Mayer test. When alcohols are allowed to react with hydrogen iodide, that OH group is replaced with iodine. Then allowed to react with AgNO2, silver nitrite. Then AgI is lost, giving nitrate, which is allowed to react with HNO2, nitrous acid. Then you will get nitrolic acid. Nitrolic acid in presence of base gives blood red coloration in case of primary alcohols. If it is secondary alcohol, same reagents. So first step we need to add HI. In second step we add AgNO2. In third step we add HNO2. In fourth step you add base. Right? In 4 steps we are going to test. If it is a primary alcohols, you will get iodides. Then you will get nitrates. Then you will get nitrolic acid. Nitrolic acid gives color. If it is blue color, then it is a primary alcohol. If it is secondary alcohol, here you will get iodide, then nitrate. After reacting with this, now observe here, due to presence of two H groups here there is only one hydrogen, right? Due to presence of that two hydrogens, you are getting this nitrolic acid. But here there is only one hydrogen present. There is only one hydrogen present, and hence the product will be pseudo-nitrile, which gives blue color. Here earlier it gives blood red color. Here you will get blue color if it is secondary alcohol. Whereas tertiary alcohols, there is absence of this hydrogen. There is no hydrogen here. Therefore, reaction with HNO2 doesn't occur. Therefore, do you not find any color? So, which alcohol does not give color means tertiary alcohols will not give color. Now see this one. This first one is primary alcohol. So you will get blood red color. Here also blood red, primary alcohol. This is a secondary alcohol, so you will get a blue color. Here it is tertiary alcohol, so no. This is about Victor-Meyer test. First alcohols allowed to react with hydrogen iodide, then OH is replaced by iodine, then react with AgNO2, then react with HNO2. As there are two hydrogens, you will get a nitrolic acid. If you have only one hydrogen, then you will get pseudo-nitrile. If you don't have any hydrogens, no reaction with HNO2. Then add NaOH. If you get blood red, primary alcohol. If you get blue color, secondary alcohol. Tertiary, no color at all, because the reaction with HNO2 do not occur. This is about Victor-Meyer test. Any doubt regarding Victor-Meyer test? Is it clear? Now come to the next compound. Which ether is most difficult to cleave with HI? Now, when ethers are allowed to react with hydrogen iodide, what happens is this? CH3, OCH3. Oxygen have lone pair of electrons. Now, hydrogen iodide means H plus I minus. Now, this oxygen donate lone pair of electrons to this H plus, and of course this is gone out, forming CH3 OH, one lone pair, bond CH3. You will get a positive charge over carbon and I minus. Now, this I minus will attack on one of the carbon, then this bond will shift back, leading to formation of methanol and methyl iodide. So this is the product. So ethers react with hydrogen iodide, then you will get alcohol and alkyl halides. More stable the carbocation possible, more readily the reaction occur. Now see here, when H plus attack over this bond will shift over this, forming tertiary carbocation. Therefore, here the product will be methanol plus tertiary alkyl halide. This is the product. Now here you will get methanol plus methyl iodide, because both are same, symmetrical this is. Now in this case, this will be shifted here, you will get a positive charge here. Therefore, the product will be phenol, you will get phenol plus CH2I. Such thing is not possible here, because you cannot form any positively charged species, or such carbocation formation is very difficult here. Therefore, cleavage of this type of ethers is difficult, right? Almost do not occur. Next, glycerol on treatment with excess of hydrogen iodide finally gives. This is glycerol having 3 OH groups. When you are allowed to react with hydrogen iodide, replace all OH groups with iodine. So 3 moles of HI is used. 3 moles of HI is used to replace all OH groups with iodine. If you have iodine on adjacent carbons, immediately I2 will be eliminated. You will get a double bond. Now the 4th mole of HI is used to react with this, forming again H here and iodine here. Again there will be loss of I2. You will get a double bond. Again HI is used. So 3, 4, 5 moles of HI is used now. You will get iodine again here. So glycerol on treatment with excess of hydrogen iodide, actually 5 moles of HI is utilized for each mole of, for 1 mole of glycerol, final product will be iodoalkane. That means haloalkane. The two you will get at second position. Any doubt regarding this one? Question number 50. Glycerol reaction with HI. Coming to 51. See. First we will see what is Wurtz reaction. Any alkyl halide in presence of sodium, diethyl ether as a solvent, then you will get RR type alkane. This is Wurtz reaction, radical mechanism. Of course, 2 moles of Na. This is Wurtz reaction, follows radical mechanism, or you can show ionic mechanism also. This is Wurtz reaction. Now, if alkyl halides react with sodium and aryl halides, alkyl and aryl halides in presence of a diethyl ether or diethyl ether, then you will get alkyl benzene. Then it is called Wurtz fitting reaction. Then that is Wurtz fitting reaction. If 2 moles of aromatic halides in presence of sodium on heating in presence of diethyl ether to form biphenyl, then it is a fitting reaction. SWOT reaction means when alkyl halides react with silver fluoride or mercurous fluoride or cobalt fluoride or antimony fluoride, then this bromine or chlorine is replaced with fluorine, then it is called a SWOT reaction. If alkyl aryl halides, instead of sodium, if I use copper, then it is called Ullmann reaction. Right? Observe the difference. SWOT reaction, Wurtz fitting, Ullmann. Right? What is Wurtz reaction means? Alkyl halides react with the sodium and dry ether to form alkanes. That is Wurtz. Fitting, aryl halides gives biphenyls. That is fitting, but not copper. We should not use copper. If I use copper, it is Ullmann reaction. Right? If I use sodium, then it is fitting reaction. Wurtz fitting, alkyl halide and aryl halide heated in presence of sodium, you will get Wurtz fitting. SWOT reaction, alkyl halides, particularly bromides and chlorides, in presence of silver fluoride or mercurous fluoride or cobalt fluoride or antimony fluoride gives alkyl fluorides. That is called SWOT reaction. Right? Any doubt regarding SWOT, Ullmann, Wurtz fitting and Wurtz fitting? These 5. Do you have any doubt among these 5 reactions? Is it clear? Please respond. Right. Now coming to this question number 52. Major product in the following reaction. Right. They have taken alcohol, allowed to react with SOCl2. What happened? OH is replaced by chlorine. Here you need to remember 2 things. If the, for example, if I take it as RCOH, R prime H. If this is allowed to react with SOCl2 or SOCl2 in presence of oxirane or oxetane or any non-polar solvents, in both cases a retention in configuration is observed. You will get retention in configuration. If the same is allowed to react with SOCl2 in presence of pyridine, then you will get a product with inversion in configuration. You will get a product with inversion in configuration. As they have not mentioned pyridine here, here the final product will be with retention in configuration. Retention in configuration means OH is gone, in the same direction you will get chlorine. So 1 will be the product. You will get this as the product if same SOCl2 is used in presence of pyridine. If same SOCl2 is used in presence of pyridine, right? So observe here what happens actually. Actually what happens, check it out once. If you have taken SOCl2 and if I have taken some alcohol or CH, better I write as H towards me, R prime here and OH here. Oxygen will donate lone pair of electrons. This oxygen will donate lone pair of electrons, making these to shift. So you will get R, C, H, R prime, O bond H. You will get a positive charge here because oxygen donated lone pair. So S, O minus, Cl, Cl. Now this will shift back, making this a Cl minus to leave, right? So that leads to a product that is R, C, H, R prime, oxygen, hydrogen. You will get a positive charge here. S double bond O, Cl. Cl minus is gone. That Cl minus abstract this hydrogen, making this bonded to gain over oxygen. So you will get R, C, H, R prime, O. It gained its electrons and you will have S double bond O, Cl. Now there will be some sort of rearrangement. This will be shifted here and of course this will be gone. So this lead to product formation. So the final product will be R, C, H, R prime and you will have chlorine here. That means whatever may be the direction of OH, on the same direction you have chlorine. Instead of this, if a pyridine is used, if I use pyridine, here HCl is gone now, here in this step. That HCl combined with pyridine, you will get pyridinium ion plus Cl minus ions. So you will have free Cl minus ions. Now this free Cl minus ions go and attack over this, making this to leave. This total group will leave. Then the final product will be R, C, H. Now from bottom direction, that means this is leaving in one direction and incoming Cl minus is attacking from the back side. So both are in opposite direction. So it is away from the viewer. So you will have OH from that Cl from towards the viewer and this R prime goes away from the viewer, right? So you will get inversion in configuration. If it is pyridine is also present. Do you have any doubt in this? Is it clear? Someone please respond. So be careful if they have given alcohol's reaction with SOCl2, then retention in configuration. If they have given any diethyl ether or some other reagent, dioxane, something in that format, in non-polar systems or something like that, then retention in configuration. If they have used pyridine as a solvent, that means along with SOCl2, if they have taken pyridine, then you will get inversion in configuration. Here you will get inversion in configuration. Here you will get retention in configuration. That is the major difference. Next, question number 53. Most acidic compound among the following. Now, OH group is responsible for acidic nature. NO2 group. This NO2 group shows minus I effect, of course minus M effect also. This is at meta position. At meta position, mesomeric effect do not operate, so only minus I. Here, minus I is very weak because it is far away, so you will get only minus M group operate. Now, in addition to that, there is possibility for some intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Some intramolecular hydrogen bonding is also possible. Due to that intramolecular hydrogen bonding, that H will not leave the position easily. So H plus, elimination of H plus is difficult. H plus cannot go outside. So which is more acidic now? Option 3 becomes more acidic. Any doubt in this question number 53? Is it clear? Now coming to question number 54. Which of the following is called Vestosol? Now say this. Vestron, Vestosol. Now say this. When alkynes, triple bonded systems, allowed to react with chlorine, so what we have to do? We have to remove one pi bond and add chlorine. So I have removed a double pi bond and we have added one chlorine this side and one chlorine this side. This is again allowed to react with chlorine. Then again remove another pi bond. You will get CH, single bond CH, chlorine, chlorine, chlorine. So we call it as Vestron. Acetylene tetrachloride is called as Vestron. When this is allowed to react with lime or barium chloride, then HCl is lost. Hydrogen from one carbon and halogen from another carbon. So HCl will be lost. If HCl is lost, what will be left? CCl, Cl, double bond, CHCl. This is called as Vestosol, right? That is called as Vestosol. So now what is the product of Vestosol? What is called as Vestosol means? This is called as Vestosol, the first one, right? What about the second one? This is second one is called as, this is called as Vestron. This is obtained during halogenation of alkynes, right? Now next question, question number 55. When ethyl magnesium chloride, this is a organometallic compound, that means there is a bond between carbon and metal. For example, if you take RMgX, remember all organometallic compounds are good sources of, they are all good sources of R minus. They are good sources of R minus, right? Or we can say it as a nucleophile. And organometallic compounds are unstable in acidic medium. They are unstable in acidic medium. So they readily decompose in presence of acids. Now, given ethyl, so C2H5, magnesium Mg, chloride Cl. This is allowed to react with phenol. Phenol have acidic hydrogen. So as due to presence of this acidic hydrogen, I told you already, this is C2H5. Grignard reagents are good sources of R minus. So this comes out as R minus, from here H plus. So the final product will be C2H6 ethane, and remaining part is this is a phenoxide ion with magnesium chloride. So what is the final product means? Ethane is the final product, right? They are all organometallic compounds are unstable in presence of acids. So they readily take H plus from acids to form such type of RH type compounds, right? Any RMgX in presence of acidic hydrogen readily forms RH type plus remaining MgX minus, that remains as it is, right? This is about reaction with Grignard reagent. Now, any doubt in this? Up to question number 55, is it clear? All the concepts are clear from 45 to 55, 46 to 55. Do you have any doubt in the concepts what we have discussed till now? Right. Now, optically active compound among the product. Optically, they have given biphenyls. Remember, in case of biphenyl system, These are biphenyl. Free rotation is possible. That means over this single bond, rings will be rotated easily. They will rotate easily over that single bond. Free rotation is possible, right? Due to this free rotation, they are optically inactive. They are optically inactive. By any means, if you are able to stop that free rotation, if I am capable of stopping it, then they can show optical activity, right? Now see this, due to presence of this SO3H and this SO3H, right? So because of these two, they will not come into a plane. These two, it will be difficult for them to come to a plane. Now here, there is no such repulsion forces shown by this one, so free rotation is possible. So optically inactive. Now here, in this case, restricted rotation. Rotation is restricted. Rotation restricted. That free rotation is restricted. But the problem is, these two groups are same. As these two groups are same, there is plane of symmetry. If plane of symmetry exists, optically inactive. So this is optically inactive. Due to free rotation, this is optically inactive. Here also free rotation, because there is no restriction here. So here also free rotation, optically inactive. Now, because of these groups, these rings cannot come into the plane again. That means this ring cannot rotate completely. It cannot rotate freely. The groups present here, this group will not allow this group to come closer than certain distance. This is possible. Up to this extent it is possible, but it cannot rotate further. To rotate it, the group present here will repel with this, right? So it cannot go further. So rotation is restricted. So maximum it can come up to this extent. So I cannot cut it into two equal halves. So the compound becomes optically active, right? So this is the only thing which is optically active. Do you have any doubt regarding this question number 56? Is it clear? Now come to question number 57. In which reaction new CC bond is formed? SWOT reaction. Already we have seen what is SWOT reaction. What is SWOT reaction? SWOT reaction. Alkyl chlorides or alkyl bromides, when they are allowed to react with silver fluoride or mercurous fluoride or antimony fluoride, etc., to form alkyl fluorides. This is called SWOT reaction. In SWOT reaction, which bond is formed means bond between carbon and halogen is formed, but not carbon and carbon. So this is wrong. Finkelstein reaction. Finkelstein reaction means same alkyl halide, when I have to react with sodium iodide in presence of acetone, this undergoes SN2 pathway. This Y minus will attack over this R and X minus is gone. So you will get RY. Are you able to understand? RCl allowed to react with sodium iodide in presence of acetone. Then you will get Ri plus NaCl. So this is called Finkelstein reaction. So what is formed in Finkelstein reaction? Finkelstein reaction also we are getting bond between all carbon and halogen. So this is also wrong. Now Reimer-Taimer reaction. In Reimer-Taimer reaction, there will be bond formation. So here the reagent is carbon. Carbon is the intermediate. Na? So this will attack over this. See this. This is Reimer-Taimer reaction. Observe here. This is CHCl3, means chloroform, allowed to react with base. Then base will abstract this H plus out, forming carbanion. Due to electron rich center, this Cl goes out as Cl minus, leaving an empty orbital. Now this carbene act as electrophile and that will attack over phenoxide system, right? So this negative charge will attack over it. Now what happened? There is a bond formation between carbon and carbon. So CC bond is formed possible. So that is called Reimer-Taimer reaction. Of course, what you will get finally? So you are getting this system, and this H will shift over this carbon, leading to the formation of this. Again, these bases will replace chlorines from here, forming an aldehyde, right? So finally, phenols, when allowed to react in presence of CHCl3 and base, you will get benzaldehyde. That means at ortho substituted, or you might also get some para substituted. This is also possible. This is also possible. But this is major. This is the major product, right? So this is Reimer-Timer reaction. Now, next question. Glycerol on oxidation with periodic acid. Now see this. There are two conditions. One is, earlier they have asked the same glycerol but with HI. Now they are asking about glycerol with HiO4, periodic acid. Nature of periodic acid is oxidizes adjacent hydroxy system. That means if we have two OH groups on adjacent carbons, then if you add HiO4, this will oxidize. That means this will break this bond and oxidize this group to aldehyde, and the bottom one also converts into aldehyde. Or simply we can say, break this bond, convert into aldehyde group, and this also to aldehyde group, right? Now observe here what happened. This is glycerol, CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH. Now HiO4. I am assuming first I am breaking this bond. If I break this bond, first what you will get, HC double bond OH, and this converts into C double bond OH, and you will have CH2OH here. Now another mole of HiO4. Now that will oxidize this into, this converts into this plus, and this one aldehyde oxidizes further to form carboxylic acid. So what is the product means? You will get, just here you have got only aldehyde, no? Right. So what is the product means? You will get 2 moles of formaldehyde and 1 mole of formic acid. So you will get formic acid, and methanol means formaldehyde. So you will get 2 moles of formaldehyde, 1 mole of formic acid. So the correct answer is option 4. Right? So if it is instead of HiO4, if they have given HI, already we have seen what is the product. If it is HI, what is the product means? First 3 moles of HI is used, you will get CH2I, CH2I, CH2I. Then I2 was eliminated, forming a double bond. Then again HI will react, forming CH3, CHI, CH2I. Again I2 is lost, forming CH3, CH double bond CH2, allowed to react with another mole of HI, finally forming CH3, CHI, CH3. This is the product. So totally 3, 4, 5 moles of HI is used here, right? So observe the difference between HI, HiO4, periodic acid. Periodic acid, what periodic acid do means, if we have adjacent OH groups, we need to oxidize, we need to break that single bond and convert them into corresponding aldehydes or carboxylic acids or ketones. Now, instead of this, if they have given simply oxidation, if they have not mentioned periodic acid, simply they said if it is simply oxidation, then this is the reaction. Observe carefully. They have mentioned simply oxidation. This is what happened. This glycerol on oxidation, only the above CH2OH got oxidized, right? So we got glyceraldehyde. If the center one oxidized, then we got dihydroxyacetone. Which on further oxidation, glyceraldehyde oxidizes to form glyceric acid. Dihydroxyacetone oxidizes to form hydroxypyruvic acid. So this is ketone, this converted into acid. Pyruvic acid, hydroxypyruvic acid. Now, glyceric acid again oxidizes, right? Then top one COOH, bottom also COOH. Then what it is called as tartanic acid. That is called tartanic acid. This on oxidation, tartanic acid, further oxidation, then the center one gets oxidized. Then you got mesoxalic acid, mesoxalic acid. The same thing is observed here also. So whatever may be the step, finally they reach the same stage called mesoxalic acid. This on oxidation further, you will get oxalic acid, then you will get carbon dioxide, right? So different possibilities. If this one gets oxidized, you will get glyceraldehyde, then glyceric acid, tartanic acid, mesoxalic acid. If the center OH got oxidized, then you will get dihydroxyacetone, then you will get hydroxypyruvic acid, then you will get mesoxalic acid. Finally, whatever may be the step, finally they will be oxidized to oxalic acid, then you will get CO2. Right? So we have seen glycerol reaction with HI. Same glycerol reaction with HiO4. Same glycerol oxidation with HNO3 or any oxidizing agent. With any oxidizing agent. Right? These are the reactions. Next. SN1 reaction is favored by polar aprotic solvents. Right? Polar aprotic solvents will not favor, because in SN1 reaction, what is the intermediate? Means carbocation is the intermediate. More stable the carbocation, more readily SN1 reaction occur. So it is favored in formation of carbocation is favored in protic solvents. So that means this is wrong. Next, SN2 reaction is favored by polar protic solvents. No, this is wrong. It is favored by polar aprotic solvents. SN2 reaction is accompanied by retention of configuration. No, in SN2 reaction you will get inversion in configuration. SN2 reaction passes through a transition state. Yes, it passes through a transition state. So option 4 is correct. Most reactive compound towards SN2 reaction is. So in SN2 reaction, there should be less hindrance, right? So it is a single step mechanism. It is a single step mechanism, means the incoming nucleophile and the leaving group, attacking group and leaving group, both operate at the same time, right? Forming a trigonal bipyramidal intermediate. So in this case, yes, it is possible. Here SN1 as well as SN2 both are favorable. Here it is difficult. In this case, SN1 as well as SN2. In case of SN1, if this bond breaks, you will get a carbocation positive charge, but it is unstable because of presence of withdrawing group, so SN2. So among all these cases, in which case SN2 occurs more readily? Wherever you have less crowding, there you will get more readily. So here electrophilic system is there, withdrawing system is there, as well as primary. So this will be undergoing SN2 reaction more readily. Next. Consider the following reaction. Yes. 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 Do the bulky phenyl group is present on the position where on the carbon where leaving group is present? This is the carbon. Here chlorine is present. This is the leaving group. Do that phenyl group present or the bulky group present over this carbon or the next one? If we have this phenyl system here, then crowding is there. Then SN2 reaction will not occur. SN2 reaction will be slowed down. Is it clear? Now, continue for the next one. Till now, do you have any doubts up to this extent? up to this extent. So what we have seen here, one is optical activity of biphenyls. Optical activity of biphenyls is observed if there is restricted in rotation is observed. That means if you have bulky groups or if any substituents at ortho position, free rotation is restricted, then they will go out of plane and there will be no plane of symmetry and hence optical activity is observed. Right. Next case, Swart reaction, Finkelstein reaction. In both cases, there will be bond formation between carbon and halogens. Next, Reimer-Taimer reaction, carbene is the intermediate. Now, tell me among singlet carbene and triplet carbene, which is more stable? Among singlet carbene and triplet carbene, this is called as singlet carbene, whereas this is called as a triplet carbene. Two unpaired electrons. Which is more stable? Triplet carbene is more stable than singlet carbene. Reason, Hund's rule, maximum multiplicity. Is it clear? Any doubt in this? Do you have any doubt in this? Someone respond, please. Are you listening or not?
Sir,
Right.
no doubts.
Right. Now, in case of glycerol, we have seen three reactions. Reaction with hydrogen iodide, reaction with HiO4, reaction with oxygen. That means oxidizing agents. Hi means remove first all OH groups, then remove I2 to form a double bond, again react with Hi, remove I2, again form a double bond, again add Hi. Total of 5 moles of Hi is used, and the final product will be iodine in the middle carbon. HiO4. If you have two OH groups on adjacent carbons, then break that sigma bond and convert this into, if it is primary, converts into aldehyde. If it is secondary, convert into ketone. Right? If both are primary, convert into both as aldehyde. Right? So, and that oxidation occurs, continues further. Right? Now, if it is oxidation, then these are the different possibilities. Either the first carbon may convert into oxidized product or maybe the second one. If the first one undergoes oxidation, you get glyceraldehyde, glyceric acid, tartanic acid and mesoxalic acid. Whereas if it undergoes, the second one undergoes oxidation, you get dihydroxyacetone, hydroxypyruvic acid, mesoxalic acid and oxalic acid. Finally, it converts into carbon dioxide. Right? And remember this one also. If you have formic acid, if KMnO4 is the oxidizing agent, then this formic acid also decomposes to form carbon dioxide. Right? Of course, plus water also. So, whereas here oxalic acid also decomposed on with in presence of oxidizing agents to form carbon dioxide. Right? And H2 is lost. Actually what happened here means, remember this one. If it is HCOOH, if I am using any anhydrous agent like concentrated H2SO4 or anything like that, remove H2O. If I remove H2O, what you will get? Carbon monoxide. If it is oxalic acid, I am using any anhydrous agent like concentrated H2SO4, then remove H2O again, then the product will be carbon monoxide plus carbon dioxide. Do you have any doubt in this? Is it clear? Formic acid, oxalic acid with H2SO4. Is it clear? Please respond. Is it clear? Right. So we will go to next concept. Now, they have given an alkene. Alkene is allowed to react with acid. Now, observe the reaction, what happened. If this is the alkene, over a 5-membered ring, you have a double bond. First, H plus will attack. When H plus you will attack over this alkene, it will lead to formation of a more stable carbocation. So this is the more stable carbocation. Of course, there are two possibilities. H plus can attack here or can attack here. So two possibilities. If it attacks over this position, you will get primary carbocation. If it attacks over this position, you will get secondary carbocation. As secondary carbocations are more stable, I prefer this one. This is the major. After doing this, there will be some sort of ring expansion. During ring expansion, what you get now? If this expands, product will be, you will get a 6-membered ring. this bond got shifted from here to here, 6-membered ring, and you will get a methyl position, and you will have a positive charge here. This is also secondary. Of course, ring expansion occurred. Now again methyl shift, that hydrogen will be shifted here. Then you will get tertiary carbocation. We know that tertiary carbocations are more stable. Then that nucleophile water, which is water, now oxygen donate lone pair of electrons over it, leading to the product formation. The final product will be this. So there will be carbocation rearrangement. There will be carbocation rearrangement leads to product. So this is the final product. Do you have any doubt in this? Is it clear? First secondary carbocation is formed, then ring expansion, then tertiary carbocation formation. Final product is alcohol. Is it clear? Question number 61. Please respond. Please respond. Coming to question number 62. Lucas reagent. What is Lucas reagent? Concentrated HCl in presence of ZnCl2. In presence of zinc chloride, ZnCl2. Now, what happens in this reagent? If it is a primary alcohol, in case of primary alcohols, you will get a primary carbocation. You will get a primary carbocation which is highly unstable. Therefore, reaction occurs very slowly. Very slowly. That means it will take almost 1 hour to observe the precipitate. That's why we say no precipitate. But actually precipitate occurs, but it will take long time to observe the precipitate. Long time to observe precipitate. If it is secondary alcohol, it occurs readily when compared to primary, because here secondary carbocation is formed, right, forming secondary alkyl halide. So you will get precipitate after some time, right? I will say it as slowly, that is very slowly, this is slowly. If it is tertiary alcohol forms a tertiary carbocation which is very stable. So reaction occurs vigorously and you will get precipitate immediately, right? So you will get some turbid, that means tertiary alkyl halide is formed, leads to product formation. Is it clear? Primary alcohols, in any case, whether it's primary or secondary or tertiary, you finally will get primary alkyl halide, secondary alkyl halide, tertiary alkyl halide. In the case of tertiary alcohol, reaction occurs quickly, right? Therefore, you will get precipitate immediately. In case of secondary alcohol, secondary carbocation should be formed, which has an intermediate, and of course reaction occurs slowly. So you will get precipitate after some time, maybe after 5 minutes. Primary alcohols, reaction occurs very slowly. You will get observe precipitate more than some 20 minutes, around 20 minutes or half an hour or maybe 1 hour, based upon the conditions, right? So it will reaction occurs very slowly. Now the question is, which alcohol give a white precipitate in 5 to 10 minutes? 5 to 10 minutes means it must be a secondary alcohol, right? So it must be a secondary alcohol. Option 1, pentane 1-ol. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pentane 1-ol. So it is a primary. 2-methyl butane 2-ol. Butane 1, 2, 3, 4. 2-methyl, so 2-methyl 2-ol. So at second position you have OH group. 2-methyl 2-butane 2-ol means it is a tertiary alcohol. Reaction occurs vigorously, right? Here it is fast reaction. 3-methyl butane 1-ol. 1, 2, 3, 4. Butane. 3-methyl butane 1-ol. So it is again primary alcohol. Reaction will not occur. Pentane 2-ol. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pentane 2-ol. So it is a secondary alcohol. So reaction occurs in 5 to 10 minutes. Is it clear? Any doubt regarding question number 62? Is it clear? Right. Now, question number 63. Better, I will stop the discussion here. I will continue the discussion from question number 63 onwards tomorrow. Okay. So, tomorrow and the day after tomorrow also, we will continue some more questions over this. And after that, I will start discussion of the next chapters. Okay. Right. Do you have any doubts regarding the concepts what we have discussed today? Victor-Meyer test, SWOT reaction, Reimer-Timer reaction, Celal formation, right? Reaction of glycerol with HI, with HiO3, On oxidation, reaction of SOCl2 in absence of pyridine, in presence of pyridine. Vestron, Westrosol formation. Clear? Wurtz fitting, Ullmann reaction, right? Finkelstein reaction, right? These are the things what we have discussed in today's lecture.